The movie begins in 1991, and we see a boy named Takaki Tono and a girl named Akari Shinohara. They lived in different cities, but after the end of their third grade, their parents transferred to Tokyo. They get admission to the same school. Takaki Tono meets Akari Shinohara in the fourth grade of elementary school. They grow very close to each other due to similar interests and attitudes, such as both preferring to stay inside during recess due to their seasonal allergy. As a result, they form a strong bond, which is shown when they speak to each other using their given names without any form of honorifics, as that is a sign of deep friendship and familiarity in Japan. Since both of them had to move often due to their parents' work, they are always awkward around others. However, because of their similar circumstances, they become close friends. Takaki confesses to Akari his dream of becoming a cosmonaut, and she encourages him in pursuing such a dream. Due to the fact that they did not talk to other students and spend a lot of time together and how close they were, rumors about them being in a romantic relationship begins to sprout out. Time passes and they get promoted to 6th grade. One day the two were walking together as the cherry blossom petals were falling. Akira tells Takaki that the speed of a cherry blossom petal falling is 5 centimeters per second. She runs toward a train crossing and quickly crosses it. On the other side of the lowered crossing, she makes a promise to the boy that they will see the cherry blossoms together next year. However, towards the end of elementary school, Akari discovers that her family had to move away to Iwafune. Despite her intent to go to the same junior high school as Takaki in Tokyo, she could do nothing but accept it. One night Takaki receives Akari's call, who has called his house from a phone booth, and she was crying a lot. Akari tells him that his father has been transferred to Iwafune and they will shift there, and she will also continue her studies there. After hearing this, Takaki gets very sad. On graduation day, Takaki couldn't properly say goodbye to Akari. Right after graduating from elementary school in 1994, Akari moves to the nearby prefecture of Tochigi due to her parents' jobs. Takaki became very silent and changed after Akari leaves, but one day he receives a letter from her. The two keep in contact by writing letters, but eventually begin to drift apart. After 1 year, Takaki learns that his family will be moving to Kagoshima on the other side of the country the following year in 1995. He decides to personally go see Akari one last time, since they will be too far apart to see and visit each other once he moves. He makes a full plan to visit her and also writes a letter to Akari to confess his feelings for her. They both were excited to meet each other after a long time. According to his plan, his train will leave in the evening and he will reach Iwafune exactly at 7 p.m. So he asks Akari to come to station at 7 p.m. to meet him. He board the train at the decided day, but as he board the train, snowfall starts. Takaki was traveling out of city for the first time and he was feeling very nervous and was thinking about Akari. Snowfall start to get intense as time pass and start to form a snowstorm, and the train has to be stopped and delayed. Takaki start to panic as he had asked Akari to come exactly at 7 p.m., but now he will not be able to get there in time. And even at all the stations the trains stop, it starts a bit late and get more delayed. Takaki is holding the letter he wrote for Akari in his hand. But to his bad luck, Takaki loses the letter during the stop at a station when strong wind sweeps it away from his hand and he is unable to grab it. Losing the letter makes him sad, and a severe snowstorm further delays his train for several hours. When he finally arrives in Iwafune many hours after the appointed time, losing the letter in the process, but Akari is still waiting there. After he eats a bento she made for him, they wander around in the snow, sharing a kiss in front of a cherry tree. Their first kiss made Takaki very happy, at the same time makes him realize they will never be together. They find a shed to spend the night in due to the severe snowstorm and fall asleep after talking late into the night. The next morning, Takaki boards the train to Tokyo, with Akari telling him that he would be fine no matter what. Takaki departs from the train station the next morning, and the two promise to continue writing to each other. As the train rolls away, Takaki decides that the loss of his letter is not important anymore after the kiss, while Akari silently looks at her own letter addressed to Takaki, which she decided not to give him. Next, we see Takaki in his new town. He is now in 8th grade, in middle school, and going to the new school for the first time. There we see another girl named Kani Sumida, who was in Takaki's class. She sees Takaki for the first time and fell in love with him. Kani is a very shy and introverted girl, and she starts to silently stalk Takaki. As time passed, she mustered up the courage and started talking with Takaki, and he behaved nicely with Kani. Takaki was a member of the archery club and took archery classes after school, and Kani tries to spend time with him, waiting long after school for the chance to travel home together. And this way they started to come home together. Kani also observes that Takaki is always writing emails to someone and staring off into the distance as if searching for something far away. Kani is in love with Takaki, but he appears ignorant of Kenny's feelings and only treats her as a good friend. Now that middle school was to end and Kenny has not decided what she wants to do, her teacher and parent even guide her. One day she comes out and sees that Takaki has left without her. She heads home and on the way she finds Takaki sitting in a field writing an email. She goes and sits with him and they chatted about the future. Later at Takaki's home, it is shown that Takaki's emails are not being sent to anyone, and he, in fact, deletes them after he finishes writing them. The truth was that after the move, their letter exchange started to become less frequent and then completely stopped. Maybe Akari had forgotten about him and had moved on, but Takaki was not able to forget her or move on. He also has recurring dreams which feature Akari. Kenny is on a beach where she is surfing. She has been learning for the past 6 months but is still unable to surf properly. Kenny's elder sister asks her if she has decided about the future. She says that she doesn't know about the future but right now she will do everything she can, which is something Takaki said to her during their early conversation. She then goes surfing with high motivation and successfully does it. She gets motivated to confess her love to Takaki. Later after the archery class, Takaki and Kenny meet. She holds his shirt from behind to stop him, but when he asks her what is the matter she is unable to confess. Her bike is not working and Takaki tells her to walk home together. They keep walking and there is silence between both. Kenny's eyes tear up and she is unable to stop the tears and starts to cry. Takaki asks her what's wrong and she says it's nothing. Then a spacecraft rocket is launched by National Space Development Agency, and Kane and Takaki both start to look at it. Kenny stops crying and Takaki takes her to her home. After a failed attempt to tell Takaki she loves him, Kenny realizes he is looking for something far beyond what she can offer, and decides not to say anything, though she believes she will always love him. With such thoughts, she cries herself to sleep. It is now 2008 and Takaki is a programmer in Tokyo. He has still not forgotten about Akari, and he is in depression, and he seems like he is not living his life and just spending his days. We also learn that he has a girlfriend whose name is Risa Mizuno. He receives a call from his current girlfriend, Risa, but does not answer, which signifies the end of the relationship. Risa and Takaki have been dating for the past 3 years. But after this long time of being with her and exchanging thousands of messages, he is still unable to forget Akari. Depressed, Takaki quits his job as he is unable to cope with his feelings for Akari. After leaving his job, he starts to earn his living via freelancing. Takaki says that his heart is in deep pain and he feels like that he is totally empty from inside and he don't know what he is doing with his life. Meanwhile, Akari is shown in Iwafune and we learn that she is engaged and preparing to marry another man. Takaki still longs for Akari to the detriment of his lifestyle. Akari goes through a box of her old possessions and finds the letter she had written for Takaki 13 years ago in 1995, but was unable to give it to him. Seeing the letter, Akari feels nostalgic and think of the old day. She also thinks how happy she was with Takaki during that time. Takaki finds himself in a convenience store reading a magazine about the decade-long journey of the rocket launched when he was in middle school, and that he saw with Kenny. Takaki and Akari begin a dual narration where they both recall a recent dream. In the dream, they relive their last meeting in the snow-filled Iwafune and remember the wish to someday watch the cherry blossoms together again. Few days later, we see Akari, who is going to Tokyo to buy some things for her marriage, and while walking down the same road they knew when they were children, Takaki and Akari appear to pass and recognize each other at the train crossing. It's the same place they had promised to watch the cherry blossoms together 13 years ago, just before Akari moved to Tochigi. On opposite sides of the tracks, they stop and begin to look back, yet a passing train cuts off their view. Takaki waits for the train to pass and finds that Akari is gone. After a moment, he smiles to himself and continues walking as the cherry blossoms stir in the train's wake. And that's all for today, guys. Stay tuned to get more new videos. Stay safe and keep watching.